Let me take you back 10 years. I was stuck in the same loop many of you might know too well. I would analyze everything to death. Decisions, conversations, outcomes, trying to find the perfect choice and avoid any kind of regret. But guess what? It only led to more stress, missed opportunities, and a whole lot of wasted time. Overthinking is a trap, and it took me a decade of research and trial and error to finally beat it. But here's the good news, you don't need 10 years. I'll share what worked for me today in only 10 minutes. Let's start with the MVP of life. If you have to make a decision you can't stop thinking about, or you want to start a hobby or project, treat it like creating a minimal viable product, short MVP. I learned about this concept the first time when I started working for a tech company. In business, an MVP is the simplest, most basic version of a product that works. You launch it, learn from it, and improve over time. I noticed quickly that life decisions or taking on any project work the same way. Instead of aiming for 100% certainty, aim for a good enough 70%. Just like an MVP in tech, this approach allows you to act, learn, and adapt quickly. Waiting for perfection just delays progress and traps you in overthinking. Launch your decision like an MVP, because trust me, progress beats perfection every time. The principle to start with the end in mind from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People taught me to always begin with a clear vision of what I want to achieve. When you know what you want, you can avoid unnecessary considerations and make sure to focus on measures that will bring you closer to your goal. It's like solving a puzzle. It's easier when you have the picture of the puzzle as a reference because it helps you fit the pieces together without confusion. Visualize what success would look like, then reverse engineer the steps needed to get there. This clarity minimizes overthinking and keeps you laser focused. Our minds love to play tricks on us. Overthinking creates exaggerated scenarios based on fear, insecurities, or doubt. But have you actually fact-checked your own thoughts? As much as you fact-check information, fact-checking your thoughts can help you determine reality. Ask yourself, is this true? Do I have evidence, or am I just projecting fears? Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Cognitive behavioral therapy is based on this principle. It teaches you to challenge negative thought patterns and replace them with evidence-based reasoning. This approach also has been proven to reduce anxiety and overthinking. Most of the harm that we experience is self-inflicted in our minds, not our reality. Another technique I swear by is imagining the worst-case scenario. When I'm stuck in analysis paralysis, I ask myself, what's the absolute worst that can happen? 9 times out of 10, it's not as bad as we make it out to be. Overthinking magnifies problems, but perspective actually shrinks them. Tim Ferriss came up with a similar approach called fear setting. In his TED Talk, he explains how visualizing worst-case scenarios and your fears can help you make clear, confident decisions without the cloud of overthinking. I even take it a step further and regularly and deliberately do things that I'm fearful of to help me build resilience and stop overthinking. Sometimes it's smaller things like getting on an airplane. And yes, I do love traveling, but I'm in fact scared of flying. So every time I get on an airplane, I face one of my fears. Or climbing up the shaky steps of a bell tower in Croatia to enjoy the breathtaking view despite my fear of heights. But also bigger things like switching jobs, moving to a different country, or creating this YouTube channel. It has also helped me to become more confident as I'm constantly stepping out of my comfort zone. But the next principle that I will be speaking about is probably something that we have all experienced in the past. Imagine you're on a date, nervously sipping your drink. You worry about your laugh, your choice of words, and even the way you hold your fork. But here's the reality. Your date is likely just as focused on their own actions. But we're nervous and think that others must notice our perceived flaws. In psychology, this is called the spotlight effect. It's our tendency to overestimate how much others notice or care about what we do. You can be certain that most of the people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are, because the world isn't watching as closely as you imagine. When I find myself overthinking again, I shift my mindset to practicing gratitude, because moving my circling thoughts into a mindset of thankfulness actually grounds me. It reminds me of how safe and secure I am. I literally count an entire list of small to significant things in my head that bring me joy or that I can be grateful for. I redirect my thoughts to gratitude and give my brain positive things to focus on. This method helps me to create a barrier against rumination, almost like a reset button. It shifts my perspective and allows me to see things from a perspective of abundance rather than worry. By focusing on what I have rather than on what I lack, I create mental space for clarity and peace. This helps break the cycle of anxious or negative thinking. And not only I had this positive experience, research supports the power of gratitude in shifting the mental focus. Robert Emmons, a leading researcher on gratitude, found that practicing gratitude can create higher levels of positive emotions, help feel less lonely, or even improve sleep, and therefore reducing the impact of overthinking. So here is a hard truth. We often self-reject ourselves before the world even gets a chance. We think we are not good enough for this job, or no one is going to like this idea, or this outfit looks stupid. This inaction is keeping us from unfolding our full potential and becoming the best version of ourselves. We are so afraid of receiving a rejection, not noticing that we have already received one. Apply for the job, share the idea, and wear that outfit. Let others say no if they must, but don't say no to yourself. Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset shows that believing in your ability to improve is critical to success. So by silencing self-rejection, you open yourself up for growth and opportunity. As Albert Einstein once said, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. Most of the harm comes from how we think about the problems, not the problems themselves. So the answers you're looking for often appear when you stop chasing them. But why is that? Because most problems aren't solved by more thinking. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to stop thinking about it and step away from it. And neuroscience actually backs this up. Research shows that downtime helps the brain consolidate information and generate creative solutions. The actionable things that have helped me to cancel out the noise are super simple and completely for free, yet super effective. And that is taking a walk, listening to music, and exercising. Because with these activities, you give your mind some space to breathe. Now, here's an important other fact to know about overthinking. It expands to the time you allow it. This is known as Parkinson's law. Just like work expands to fill the time available, so does overthinking. My personal tip, set a time frame. Give yourself 30 minutes or a day to deliberate, but then move on. Limiting the space for overthinking forces you to focus on action rather than rumination. But at the same time, you give yourself a dedicated time to feel and notice and acknowledge your emotions without suppressing them. By setting boundaries, you free your mind and notice what really matters, which is a great transition to my next point. It is something that my mom already taught me when I was in high school studying for my exams. I have applied this rule ever since in my jobs or at university, and it definitely contributed to my success. That is the 80-20 rule. In life, this principle can help us to focus on what truly matters to us. So the 80-20 rule states that 80% of the results come from 20% of the efforts. By identifying and dedicating time to the 20% of things that drive our success, happiness, and well-being, we can achieve more with less. So it's not about striving for perfection in everything. Rather, it is about recognizing what has the greatest impact and letting go of the rest. But I couldn't have finally stopped overthinking and figuring out what truly matters without essentialism. So make sure to watch the video up here. If you found this video helpful, it would mean the world to me if you give this video a thumbs up, hit the notification bell as well as the subscribe button, and join the community as it grows. So see you next time. Bye!